organizational change, really anything that alters the existing routines and strategies, right, as they affect an organization. And, we've seen resistance in all different types, right? Whether it's overt, covert, or conscious or unconscious, really. I think it's useful to think about it, though, in at least a couple different ways in terms of scale, right? I mean, there's incremental change, which sort of fits in that category of continuous improvement, things that organizations are doing regularly, consistently, and constantly. And then radical change. And radical change falls more to that category of transformation. And that, is foundationally and fundamentally more significant, right? Impact on the organization and the people in the organization. And so that's where you really need to spend more time being aware and conscious of how you're managing change. And, a lot of it, I think, Brian, we've seen this, a lot of the difficulty lies in when problems arise, and they will in change. They're amplified when people don't understand the implications of the change in a systematic way. So, we've talked a lot about how structured, organized, well-planned approach produces the best results because of how complex it is. And maybe starting into that topic, Brian, what are your thoughts about how different levels in the organization might perceive change differently?
Yeah, absolutely. And when I think of resistance, I think of risks of resistance and resource levels. So, and I break that down into kind of four different groups. So there's individual contributors, there's mid-level managers or senior level subject matter experts, there's senior level management, and then there's executives, and they all have their own challenges and perspectives. They all have their own voice and power and perceived voice and power, which I think is a direct correlation to how they resist or not resist. So, I'll first talk about individual contributors. For the most part, individual contributors come in, they're younger, they've graduated from high school, they've graduated from college, they're professionals, they've left their parents' house, they have moved into an apartment, they moved into another apartment. There's a lot of change going on. And in fact, a lot of them embrace change. They're really kind of seeking out new adventures. So for them, you don't typically see a lot of resistors at that level. But again, you sometimes see people that are professionally immature that don't quite get a grasp how it is to connect with everybody in a line on a system level. So that's one category. The next level would probably be that the mid-level management or senior subject matter expert level. And this is a mix. Typically those people, their voice and power is built on their credibility. They've spent a lot of time on an application or a discipline, and they have a reputation that's grown there. And so if there's a new application coming in, some kind of change that can ruffle their feathers a little bit, and they can be a resistor there. So that's typically an area where you see a lot of resistance. And the next level, senior level management, I think you start to see a mix there. Of course, there's people that have voice and power kind of related to their tenure. Any type of change may be a challenge to them. So you have to watch out for that. But also, they do start to align with executives and realize that building their relationships with others is as important as delivering in some situations. And so they understand change better, and they start to align. So they may actually, understand that being a resistor is a challenge. And then the last level, I know you're very familiar with is executive resistance. And, typically they're actually sponsoring the change. So you don't typically see a ton there, but if you do, that is a little bit of a red flag.